chat experience for your what? The hell is that? Just close it.
Oh, it's streaming. Close that. Oh, good, just. Hey guys, some new drivers behind the camera. Say hi to Justin behind the camera.
Hey guys.
Yep. Perplexed by the new YouTube pop-up. Hey, Scott Rogan, Rogue Home Cinema. We're here with a brand new showroom update. So we're really excited about a brand that's really hit the market in a massive way, particularly the last few years. It's the Ascendo immersive audio out of Germany, and none less than their massive 50 and 80 inch size woofers, infrasonic subwoofers, getting everyone's attention. And of course, we've seen massive attention from the YouTube influencers out there going to the amazing movie core cinema in Germany. I know Shane Lee and a whole bunch of guys have been checking that out. So we checked out Ascendo for myself a few months back in Melbourne in Australia, where the distributor is set up there. We knew we needed to check this brand out because we're looking for a cinema brand that was going to give us more output, more sound quality, ease of installation, and even really the form factor where we can actually fit high-end sound inside small spaces, because home theaters are small spaces and they tend to be getting a little bit smaller these days. Square meterage is really, really important. So let's go through some of the models we've selected for our showroom, and I'll explain a bit more why we picked them out. So over here, we're going to start with the sub. Ascendo, famous for their massive subwoofers. Now this is really quite an odd product in their lineup because it's actually really pretty inexpensive. Aussie dollars wise, it's less than $2,000. It's a 12-inch, not sure what driver material. It looks carbon fibery, but it is super rigid. 12-inch driver, ported 500 watt D-class plate amp. I heard two of these running over East. We've selected two of these for our demo room, and we're in a pretty good sized room. It's 5.2 by 5.4 meters. So that capacity is quite significant versus say a 4 by 4 meter room. So we're going to run two of these guys. We can even grab two more and run quad subs in here, and we can do that for really no more money than say some of the triad subs we've been running. We could do two triads, or we could do four of these. So I'm really keen to see if two of these are going to get where we need to be, and really for not a whole lot of money more, we can go to four of them. So this is really exciting. Good value base. Now, moving through to the actual loudspeaker range, these are the passive series from Ascendo. So yes, they do fully digital active, very high-end pro drivers, and they can cost $5,000, $10,000 plus per speaker. Now, for our system in here, our B-level system, we're looking for something that could run off an AV receiver and rock the house. So also, we wanted a speaker that could, if we added power amps or the client decided to add more power later, it could handle that as well. But really, we wanted lots of output without needing a hell of a lot of power. So it means sensitivity or efficiency of the speaker was really primed up. So I'm going to go to our LCRs next. These are the 10Ps, 10-inch mid-bass driver. In the throat of this 10-inch driver is a 34mm tweeter. It's actually a compression driver. And this speaker, you can see it there through the light, right? So this speaker is really, really efficient. So we're talking like 96 dB. That means that this is going to play somewhat louder, like a big chunk louder per watt that goes in. So you put a little bit of power in, this is playing way louder than a typical speaker. So with an AV receiver, we're limited on power. We've got 100 to 150 watts of real power at any given time, if we're lucky. So if our speaker's more efficient, we're getting more liveliness, more output, more clarity from the get-go. So hugely efficient. To be in the mid-90s is crazy. It's an 8-ohm speaker, which means that it's going to be pretty easy to drive. An AV receiver is very comfortable with a 6 to 8 ohm load. Not many are that comfortable with 4 ohms, and those that aren't necessarily creating a hell of a lot more power. Say the Anthem, which we are going to run with these guys, 140 watts into 8 ohms. Into 4 ohms, only really 160 to 170 watt. So low impedance speakers, you may think, well, we'll get more power into them, so we'll get more, I guess, output that way. Doesn't really happen with an AV receiver. With saying that, these will handle like 500 watts of power. So say if we added Anthem's MCA series power amplifier, which are a solid 220, 225 watts into 8 ohms, then this speaker will chew up all of that, no problems at all. So very, very cool to have a speaker with high output and easy enough to run off an AV receiver or a power amp, power handling, and check it out. Form factor, right? This is going to sit in behind our acoustic screen very, very easily, very comfortably. It's only about 100 and, actually I'll give you the right specifications here. Depth is 145 millimeter. Sorry for those in America. Divide that by 25.4. That's your magic number, millimeters to inches. So low form factor, right? So we needed a speaker that can fit inside the spaces. So that's something which, like the big JBL tower here, not going to go behind a screen very easily. And if it does, we need basically another foot or so, foot and a half actually, of space in the room to fit this speaker versus this speaker. So we're saving space. The big JBL Studio 6 here, less efficient than this guy. Now, the tower speaker will go lower in bass, but we've got subwoofers, we've got multi-channel sound, we've got surround processing, so we don't need the LCRs or any speakers in the system to actually go under around 80 hertz. So the speaker's tuned perfectly for what we need it to do and no more. Whereas this speaker's designed like a hi-fi speaker to develop a lot of low bass. We're paying for drivers and box size that in cinema we don't really need. What I do love with Studio 6, they also run compression drivers, and for cinema, where that means that they can play at really great levels without breaking up or going a bit wonky. So John Wick, those gunshots, fire it up. The JBLs, love them. They've been a really great sound for us in here. Though I wanted to go another level and more friendly in size and form factor. So the Ascendo is like ticking all those boxes. You'll notice here, ported. So a ported design does help add to the efficiency and the effectiveness of the speaker. Being that it's not a sub, we're not going to have huge blasts of air coming out of this thing, which means we should be okay still at about 150 mil from, say, a woven screen, or for perforated screen like we have here, we really need to go to 250 to 300 mil to get the sound through a perforated screen. That's sort of the rules. Made easier with slim form factor. So that's the 10P. What else is notable? So it's a 10-inch driver, 34 mil compression driver. As I say, good 500 watt power handling, good from 80 hertz and above, 96 dB, absolutely crazy output. So looking forward to plumbing these in. So we've got 3 of these for along the front, while our Elementi Audio, Australian brand, is our fully active speaker brand that remains in this room as well. So we've got a fully active, and this is going to be our passive speakers running from the Anthem AVR. Let's check out the model for our surround channels now. This is the CCM5P. So the 5P, as the model number may suggest, P for passive, 5-inch driver, different high frequency. So the 5 and the 6s run a soft dome tweeter, but it's a neodymium magnet driver. So it's a high output, high power handling magnet. Behind the tweeter, it's a ported box design, so actually good efficiency out of this box with the port. So we're getting down to that sort of 80 hertz range again. Hello, my girl. Come on, over here. The woofers are on this side, thank you. So being that it's a coaxial design, the tweeter is effectively horn loaded or sort of waveguide loaded. So we're getting really quite output for a 5-inch two-way bookshelf speaker, which it kind of is. We're actually getting 88 decibels of sensitivity. Most bookshelf speakers are going to be around 84, 85. So we've got good output on such a small speaker. So that's pretty cool. 8 ohm load as well. 100 watt power handling in this, which is typical for most surround channels. And of course the surround channels sitting closer to the listeners, whereas the LCR's more distance. So this is going to be really nice for the effects. We thought we'd mix it up in the showroom. 10s at the front. You can go to 12-inch LCR, even more output. We've gone for the 10s, and we can go a 6-inch. The 6-inch, much the same as the 5 here, the same tweeter, same sort of ported box, a little bit bigger box, 93 dB. So that's pretty awesome. Again, a 6-inch two-way bookshelf probably maxes out around 89 dB usually. So these speakers certainly designed for the high output demands of cinema. The 6-inch runs into up to 300 watt power handling. Of course, it's a 6-inch driver, same tweeter neodymium as the 5s. So even the 6Ps could be used for LCRs in quite a lot of cinemas. You know, a 4x4 meter room, maybe a woven screen. You can get those 6s up behind the screen, get a really great result. 93 dBs, fair rocking. So you get the 5 and the 6s. Then we jump into the 10s with compression driver and a 12-inch version of this. The price point on the 5s, $1,100. The 6 is $1,600, $3,100 for the 10, and then $4,000 for the 12-inch version, which is like 99 dB output. It's crazy. Now, just remember those numbers. I'm in Australia. That's Aussie dollars, including GST and taxes. Which is another point actually, because I know with the AV12 subwoofer over here, that's around $1,400 US. I saw Shane Lee reviewed this just recently. He loved it. In Australia, $1,800. So when you would compare the pricing over the global market, these pricing really, really competitively. So I'm really happy with that. The value for money in Australia, the form factor, the output, very cool. I didn't mention form factor on this guy. Check it out. It's crazy. It's like not even 3 inches thick. It's like 2.5 inches, 88 millimeters. So this will hide and integrate inside the walls, inside our acoustic panels, behind shears, behind stretch fabric walls, or even with a magnetic grille, just straight on the wall. Nice and neat, not much to look at, really, really discreet, and a great cinema room's a dark cinema room, so really without fancy trim, these are pretty practical. I think the wife acceptance factor is right up there. In the way of mounting, keyhole slot, easy as, binding posts on this one. With the 10s, we've got Phoenix style connector at the back, and check it out, we've got full keyholes in every orientation. So this speaker, being a coaxial point source, probably didn't bang on enough about that, where the tweeters are within the mid drivers, this has the same sonic signature, pretty much any orientation. Now of course the ports will change things a little bit for mid bass, but really we can orientate the speaker anyway. The mounting's already ready to go for that as well. So we'll be mounting ours in the horizontal fashion on the lower part of the screen, because we've got our Elementi primary A system running further up. So super flexible as well, and the fact that the coaxial design has a really wide soundstage, so we don't have to do a great deal of efforting of angling and towing in the speakers to try and cover the whole audience. Very little toe in, if any, we'll use in this room. And in the way of, say, modular height seating, so tiers of seating, if we've got some listeners somewhat below the speaker or in line with the speaker, the coaxial design means that the tweeter in the mid-range is actually traveling the same distance if they're above or below the speaker, or left or right of the speaker. So Ascendo go on about that a fair bit, about being time coherent, and when it comes to Dolby Atmos sound, in particular immersive audio sound with Atmos, being able to time in and connect with nice wide dispersion, the sound field from speaker to speaker, the panning and that 3D effect is just really glorious. I was so impressed when I first heard that. So a bit of a technical advantage just in the design philosophy alone. Now something else to mention, the Atmos speakers, we've still got some older Atmos in here. We'll be changing them shortly to the 6-inch version, and they do a wedge. So the actual box is around a 45-degree angle, mount to the ceiling, and we've got a beautiful 6-inch coaxial speaker and the 6P angling back to the seat. So we'll be looking forward to those ones coming in next month. They'll roll in, and that will give us a full 3D immersive audio. Our LCRs, we're going to run a pair of surrounds, 5 channels, a couple of subs, 5.2, and then we'll replace our 4 Atmos channels with the 6P wedge, and it will give us 5.2.4, which is a great value configuration because there's a lot of AVRs out there at 9 channels, and it's a bit of a jump sometimes to get to those 11 channels to get the backs involved as well. But of course, you can build a system up in parts, or some people just want to get the whole lot blaring straight away. So depends on the budget as to how we execute that. All right, I think that's a pretty good wrap. Justin and I are going to pull some fabric off the walls, start mounting some speakers, get the screen off. We'll share some photos on our Instagram of that process. We'll then run the ARC calibration system on the Anthem, and we're gonna have a listen. So we'll tune back in and let you guys know how this is going. A lot of speakers we checked out before we chose these. Moment of truth now to hear how they go in our reference showroom here. Thanks for watching. For more inspiration and education, check out our website and links below. And look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.